Well, hey folks, welcome back once again. This week we are going to learn some advanced retouching techniques for photos. And we did a little bit of this in the introductory Photoshop class, but I want to dive a little deeper this time and practice these techniques, learn to get a little more realistic with our results. So with retouching, it's all about subtlety and being able to see what you'd like to change about a photo, and then to know how to do that. So I've kind of got a process that we're going to work through this week, and I've provided you with a couple photos. This portrait one is what we're going to be working on primarily, and then this office photo is just going to be for switching out the background at the end. All right, so there's kind of a process that I've developed over the years. There's a million different ways to retouch photos. Some ways work better than others, and each situation is going to require some different skills. So with this photo, and I always feel like such a jerk when I do these because we have to point out the things that are wrong with someone. Not that they're wrong, but the things that we would like to improve upon. So looking at this girl, she's got one eye that's kind of a little shut a little more than the other one. She's got some crooked teeth. The teeth are kind of yellow. Her nose is a little crooked. She's got some blemishes. She's got some grease spots and some hairs, errant hairs all over the place. So we're going to be able to fix all of that and maybe even take it a little further. We're going for an idealized version of reality, meaning we don't want to take it too far, but we want to, we want to do what we can to make it look a little better. So first thing I want to do is use the healing tools to fix any big blemishes that I see. So we're going to be zoomed in a lot this week. So you can Command plus and Command minus to zoom in and out. One shortcut that I use a lot is spacebar. Whenever you have the move tool selected, if you hold down spacebar, you're going to get the hand tool, the move tool, and this will allow you to move the photo around. Then you let go of spacebar and it goes back to your other tool. So Command plus, Command minus to zoom in and out, or Control plus, Control minus, and then spacebar will toggle the hand tool on and off. So I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to grab the spot healing brush. That is the quickest and easiest spot healing tool for healing. And all of these healing tools are pretty useful. If you haven't used them before, you should look in your book and see how they work and what they do. I'm going to assume that you have a little bit of experience with them. Spot healing brush tool is as simple as just painting over something. Now, we're going to be doing some destructive editing, because there are some techniques where you can use smart objects and that kind of stuff, but it gets kind of confusing. So the way that I do this is I create a lot of duplicate layers, so at least I have kind of a breadcrumb trail. So if I mess something up, I might have to do one step over, but I won't have to do the entire process over. So first thing I'm going to do is duplicate this layer. All right, and we'll name this layer blemishes. All right, so now with my spot healing brush tool over here, I just find a blemish I want to get rid of, paint over it. When I let go, voila, like magic, it's gone. So I'm going to go around here and look. There's a little thing right there next to her nose. I don't know if I can get that. Little cold sore here or something. You can do a little bit around the bags under her eyes, but I'm going to Command Z or Control Z to undo that. I'm going to use something else for that. I'm going to scroll down here. There's just a few birthmarks I can get rid of. She really doesn't have too many blemishes to speak of. A few little zits here and there. That looks pretty good. So not a whole lot to worry about there. Oh, there's one little red spot up here. All right, so then the next step is to fix these kind of greasy patches that she has on her face. Now, with the spot healing brush, I could paint over them, but it's not going to do a super good job. So I'm going to undo that. Now, what I like to do is the patch tool. And the patch tool combined with the fade command, which is a really neat feature if you haven't used this before. So when I select the patch tool, what I do is I actually freehand draw like a lasso over the area that I want to affect. So I'm just going to kind of draw sort of a T shape around this greasy spot here. And then when I let go, you get your marching ants. And I'll bring my cursor inside of the selection, click and drag, and I drag over to an area that I want to clone from, that I want to sample. So I let go, and it automatically does its thing and gets rid of that greasy spot. And it smooths the edges along so it's not a rough transition. It's really nice. Now the problem is, I don't want that to be gone completely because I want to have a little bit of that shine, just not as much as was there, because it's going to look too flat without any dimension at all. So now, while this is still selected, it's the only time you can do it. I'm going to go up to the Edit command, the Edit menu, and you'll see four steps down, Fade Patch Selection. Now you won't be able to click on this unless you still have your marching ants, like right after you do the patch selection in your history panel. So I'm going to go to Fade Patch Selection, and this is basically undo on a slider. That's what's so neat about this, is it's the opacity of whatever we just did, the patch tool. So if I take this all the way down to 0, it brings the shine completely black. If I take it all the way up to 100, it gets rid of it completely. What I want is sort of somewhere in the middle here, where I get a little bit of shine, a little bit of dimension, but not too much. So I'm going to go right about in between 40 and 50%, and click OK. Now I can deselect, and if you want to see how it looks before and after, you can just toggle this layer on and off. It's always nice to see what we've done. Or you can use the history panel to go back here. Go back here and then come back. All right, so that looks pretty good. Now with the patch tool still selected, I want to do the same thing for the other shiny areas on her face. So I'm going to draw a little selection on her right cheek here. Move this over. You want a similar area of skin if you can help it. And then Edit, Fade Patch Selection. Take that down to about 40-50%. Click OK. And then deselect. Command D or Control D to deselect. Or select, deselect. Don't use the shortcuts unless it makes it easier. If it's harder to remember all these things, then just go to the drop-down menus. All right. Then this little area here, same thing. Move it over. That one was not as prominent, so I might take it down about 40% there. And then the last one I'm going to do, I think, is on her chin here. Drag that over. Fade Patch Selection. And there we go. All right, I think that looks pretty good. I could try this little guy too. I don't know if it's necessary, but we'll give it a shot. All right, looking good. Now's a good time to go ahead and save our file. And we'll save it as Retouch to your flash drive or your desktop, wherever you save your work. That's fine. All right. Now, the next thing I want to do is look at the skin tone. All right. Now I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I can see a little better. And I think I'll actually save that for the next video. All right. So in this video we have fixed blemishes with the spot healing brush. We use the patch tool and the fade command to get rid of a few of those little areas that we weren't really happy with, the greasy spot areas. Now there's something else you can do here. I'm going to zoom in and show you. We're going to do a little eyebrow plucking. All right. And we can use the clone stamp for that. The clone stamp works basically, if you haven't used that before, you select it and you can choose the brush size that you want and the hardness, just like any other brush. All right. I'm going to use a 0% hardness and brush size of about 15 pixels. Okay. Now with the clone stamp, what you do is you option click, you hold down option and you get a bullseye, and that tells you the area you're going to sample from, right? So hold down option and click up here in a clean area of skin, and then I come over here and it paints. You can see that little crosshair. That's showing me where it's sampling from as I paint over this. All right, so what I like to do is sample frequently and sample close to the area that I'm going to be cloning. And it allows me to just kind of make some of these hairs disappear. Right, so I'm not going to do, oops. If you do too much, just Command Z. I don't want to get too crazy with it, but these are just those little subtle things. Retouching is all about subtlety. And I'm actually doing a bit too much here, but we'll see if we can fix it down the line. All right, then underneath, get a few of these. You see I'm doing a lot of option clicking and then painting, almost like the clone stamp, or I'm sorry, almost like I'm sampling right next to the area that I want to paint on. So I'll zoom out, see how that looks, and you can see the difference between those two. So now I'll come over here on the other side, do the same thing, and then we'll move on to the skin tone.